the concept known as normalization and denormalization. Right? Now, uh, when we implement a data warehouse solution, then we prefer to uh, decide which form of normalization, like we have to decide which form of a normalization we have to go for as per the business requirement. So we'll try to understand like what the denormalized data is, what is normalized data is, and then we'll see like how we can make the data normalized from the denormalized data. Now, if you see here, this is my very first table, and here we have the details about the customer name, item. Now, if you see here, John Smith purchased Xbox One. James also purchased PlayStation 4. Matthew purchased Xbox One and PS Vita. Now, you can very well see that in a single cell, I have two values, right? Now, if we think logically, obviously, when we add something in a table, we prefer to have a individual entries rather than multiple entries. Here I can see there are multiple entries coming in. Now that is a problem. For example, let's say Matthew purchased X1 and PS Vita, and later on he returned PS Vita back to the store. Then what will happen? As a database maintenance person, I have to update this record, right? I have to update the value. So don't you think it will be good idea to have a two entries of Matthew where I have Xbox One as one entry and PS Vita as second entry. And suppose if Matthew return PS Vita, we can delete this record rather than updating the existing record, right? That will be an easier way of us to achieve the same thing. Now, that is what normalization helping me to do. Normalization helping me to uh, make the table structure in a way that it will be easy for us to maintain, right? So as of now, the table which you are seeing here, this table is nothing but denormalized table. It is a denormalized table. And I want to make this as a normalized table. And in normalization, there are various ways. Normalization one, second normal form, third normal form, fourth normal form, BCNF form. Like there are various different ways we have. We are going to talk about till 4NF, right? Because in industry, people are mostly okay with three normal form. They don't normally go further than three normal form. So suppose I am creating a data warehouse, we prefer to go with a third normal form, not more than that, which is what people used to do. So now if you see here, I want to convert this particular table to a first normal form. Now question arises, what is the criteria of a first normal form? Like how will I make sure that my table is at the first normal form? The first is each cell to be single valued, right? Each cell should be a single valued. Entries in a column are of same type. What does that mean? Do you see here? Here I have the phone numbers, but at the same time I have a different value as well. Here, like these are the phone numbers, but at the same time here I have toll free as well. So values are of not same type, right? So values should be of same type. Rows uniquely identify. Now, will I able to identify the rows uniquely? No, right? Because I have this John Smith and I have this John Smith as well. I want to make my rows uniquely identified, right? I should able to identify the row uniquely. So once all these three criterias will be met, then only I will able to say that my table is at the first normal form. So if I want to achieve that, what I have to do is I have to create a table like this. Now let's try to understand the table here. First of all, each cell as a single value. The problem is with Matthew. You can see that we have two entries for Matthew. Second, entries column are of same type. You can see that. Now, as I broke down this Matthew into two records, I have Xbox, the parent company is Microsoft, and PS Vita, the parent company is Sony. So this wholesale is now no longer there. It is now coming as Sony and Microsoft. Also, the phone number is toll free, is now further segregated by the phone number, which is Xbox and Sony. Now, these two problems are solved. Now, am I able to segregate the data uniquely as well? Now looks like yes, because if you see this is JT Smith, let's say James T Smith, something my name is there, and this is let's say James Matthew Smith or something. So these two guys are different. These two are not same guys. They are different guys, and now I can uniquely able to segregate them as well. So based on the customer ID, I can very well segregate the different customers by like each record is one customer. So I can very well say that this customer ID is nothing but my primary key. I'm making it as a unique column. All right. So this is my first normal form. Now this is my first normal form. This table already achieved first normal form, right? Now I want to achieve my second normal form on this only. Now, second normal form has some criteria as well. The criteria is, first of all the condition of my first normal form should be met, which is already meeting here. I have a primary key. I have a uniquely rows available, right? And all the data are of same type. Plus, so basically the criteria of normal form 2 is first normal form plus this. All attributes which are non-key columns should be dependent on the key. All the attributes, these are my attributes, should be dependent on only customer ID. That is what my requirement is for the second normal form. Now, if you see here, there is a problem. The problem is, if like clearly it mentioned that all the values should be dependent on the customer ID only. With the customer ID only, I will able to identify these values. For example, let's say Xbox One. Now, can I say that Xbox One I can identify by the supplier name as well? Because I know that Xbox One is belongs to Microsoft. So apart from customer ID, I'm able to identify this Xbox One with the non-primary key as well. Now this is my non-primary key, right? This supplier is a non-primary key. Based on the supplier, I can able to identify the phone number. I can able to identify the price. I can able to identify the newsletter. I'm able to identify the item, many of the columns, right? My only whole and sole requirement should be that I can able to identify all of my attributes in a table from primary key only. And to solve that problem, this is the solution. Now I am making the table in a second normal form. Now you can see that customer ID, like customer name is only dependent on customer ID, absolutely. Address is also dependent on customer ID only. And which newsletter he opt for is dependent on customer ID only, right? So all the attributes in this table are dependent on the primary key. And in this table, item is my primary key, supplier is dependent on item, supplier phone number is dependent on uh, item, and price is also dependent on item. Okay. But now question arises, how will I join this table with this table? Because I want to know, right, that this guy actually purchased this item or whatever item. So I want to somehow join this table with this table. For that, what I will do is I'll create one more table, something like this. Now you can see that this table, I'm getting all the customer IDs combination and all the item combination. Now this table is at the two normal form, this table is at two normal form, and then I'm creating this table which is like combination of the primary keys of the both the tables. And then I'm using this table joins with this table, sorry, this column joins with this table, and this column joins with this table, and I will able to connect both the tables. And this table is also not known as fact less fact. If you guys remember, we had a discussion about different type of facts. So I have a table where I don't have any facts. It is helping me to join the two tables because of the combination of the primary keys. So this type of table is also known as factless fact tables. So now from here, I actually achieved my second normal form where customer ID, based on customer ID only, I can able to find or understand these things, right? Same way from item, I can able to get the column details, or supplier can be understand by item only, supplier phone can be understand by item only, and price can be understand by item only. Same way, newsletter can be understand by like which customer opt for which newsletter, shipping address, which customer has which address, and customer name is based on the customer ID. So now I achieved the second normal form. Is we have to now convert into third normal form. So one more thing I want to highlight here, this type of dependency which I have, right? I have a dependency of uh, like from the non-key, I'm able to identify the supplier, the supplier phone number, the price, right? From the non-key. So this type of dependency is known as functional dependency. So once in some like an interview, someone will ask that what is the criteria to convert the data into two normal form, then you have to say that we have to remove all the functional dependencies, right? So keep that technical word in the mind. It's a functional dependency. Now, once my two normal form is achieved, I have to now achieve the third normal form. Now we already have this table. We already have this table. We already have this table. What is the requirement for the third normal form? All fields, that means columns, can be determined by the key in the table and no other columns, right? Now here you can see that, now if you see the difference between two normal form, all the attributes, non-key columns dependent on the key, right? All the attributes dependent on the key. So all the attributes should be dependent on the key here. Like these attributes are not dependent on the key. These attributes are dependent on the item also. Like from the item also, I can able to get the details. Same way, almost a thin line of a difference. It says that all fields can be determined only by the key in the table, no other column. You can see that it's almost in the same lines. And this type of dependency is known as transitive dependency. I want to remove the transitive dependency. Now here what problem we are seeing, we'll check that. We'll convert this data into third normal form. You can see that I am creating these many things. Now from here, try to understand. This table is perfectly fine. I don't have to make any changes here. But the problem is, if you see the previous table, here, now if you see here, from the supplier, can I able to understand the supplier phone number also? Absolutely, right? So from the non-key also, I'm able to get the supplier name. Like from the supplier, I'm able to get the supplier phone number, which I don't want. That is my transitive dependency, which I want to remove. So in that case, what we will do is I'll create something like this. Now here what happens? Now this table is perfectly fine, no changes required. Everything is fine here. In fact, here you can see I created one change, which is like item. Okay, this is like already we have. Okay, no change. Sorry, these two tables are perfectly fine. Now in this table, what I did is I have the item, I have a supplier, I have a price, I have a supplier, and I have a supplier phone number. Now from the item, I will able to identify the supplier. From the item, I will able to identify the price. Perfect. All the field columns are determined by the key of the table only. And from supplier, I can able to get the supplier phone number. Perfect. That is also fine. Now if we see here, item is a primary key in this table. I can have unique values here only. Supplier is a primary key in this table, unique values. Supplier is a foreign key in this table, right? We'll talk about primary key, foreign key soon, like this week. So you can clearly see that there is a relation between this table and this table on the supplier key, like supplier value, where supplier is my primary key and in this table supplier is a foreign key. So now this particular table is in the third normal form where I don't have any uh, functional dependency, which I removed in the two normal form, and I don't have any transitive dependency. I removed that as well. Now each table is well segregated, right? I can able to find customer name with the customer ID. I can able to find shipping address with the customer ID. I can able to find newsletter which he opt to from the customer ID. Similarly, I can able to find item like supplier from the item. I can able to find price of the item also from the item. Same way from the supplier, I can able to get the supplier phone number as well. Okay, so you can see that from a very big table which we had at the start, the denormalized table, which is this one, this table, we converted this table to multiple small tables, right? We converted this table to multiple small tables till this point. Now we have four tables, and each table has its own relation with the other table with the primary foreign key type of constraints. We'll talk about the constraints, primary key, foreign key. But you can see that I broke down the table into four. Now there is a concept of fourth normal form as well. Now how this fourth normal form will look like. Now here, one more thing I did, no multi-valued dependency. Now what does that mean? No multi-valued dependency. MW Wilson, opt for Xbox news, opt for PlayStation news, right? If you see in the third normal form, what we have is we have this like Matthew Wilson has newsletter Xbox news as well, and Matthew Wilson has the newsletter PlayStation as well. Now this is like multi-valued dependency. What I want is I want to break it. So as I mentioned, like fourth normal form we don't normally do. We go till the third normal form only. But just for your understanding, that if you want to make it as a fourth normal form, then what I did here is that we are again breaking this table into two tables. I have customer ID a primary key, customer ID a primary key. From here, I removed this newsletter column and putting together. Now, what is the benefit of this? The benefit is this. For example, let's say tomorrow MW Wilson says that I don't want PlayStation newsletter. Then what will happen? I will have to in the previous table, I will have to update this record with null, right? I will have to update this record with null. That means I'm updating this table altogether. To save from that, now why we are doing all these things? Because I want to like reduce the total efforts of updating the records. Because if we increase the effort of updating the records, there are chances that my data may corrupt by mistake, by I delete something else and so on. The easy way is I created a new table altogether. Now, if Wilson say that I don't want the PlayStation news letter, then what will I do? I will just go ahead and delete this record, right? I'll just delete this record. No updation required anywhere. I deleted this record. Now this Wilson guy will get only Xbox news. He will not get PlayStation news. So you can see that how easily it is able to make my tables very simple for me to handle. So more and more we normalize, more and more it will be easy for us to maintain the table. But at the same time, as more tables will be generated, so obviously more joins we have to apply. And if I'm talking about millions of records, so my performance may get slow as well, right? So when we are talking about like we had a discussion about OLTP and OLAP. When we have a huge amount of data set, we prefer to go with a denormalized structure, or I can say first normal form structure, and not fourth normal form structure, because my data volume is very huge. And when I have huge data volume and huge number of tables, then in that case, I will have to join multiple tables, and that will slow down the performance. So when my data volume is less, and I want quick transactions, then I can go with fourth or third normal form, and I can go. That type of system is known as OLTP system, where the data volume is less, right? I want the mini statement from the ATM, so the data volume is less, only 10 transactions. So if the data volume is less, number of tables are more, then also my overall joining will be faster. So if someone will ask you that I have a OLTP system and I have a OLAP system. OLTP system obviously like a mini statement, bank statement, and all those things. Mini statement, sorry, not bank statement. Bank statement like it can be huge as well, but mini statement. So in this OLTP system, and in OLAP is like where I'm doing all the big data processing, trying to find the trends and applying some modeling and all those things, right? So people may ask that if you have an OLTP system, will I go with a normalized form or a denormalized form? So my answer will be normalized form. If they will ask that if I have the OLAP system, will I go with normalized form or denormalized form? In that case, I will go with denormalized form because I will have a huge amount of data set and I need the quick output. So what I will prefer is I will try to create a single table where I will have all the data sets, okay, all the data records. So that is very much important for us to understand. Then when we have OLTP, then we will prefer normalized form. When we have OLAP, then we prefer to go with denormalized form. Now, as this is my final normal form, I can able to tell the relation. You will see the relationship, entity relationships. Can I say that it is 1 to n relation? A customer can have n number of newsletters possible. So this relation is 1 to n, 1 to many. Okay, so this is my 1 to many relation. Same way here, there are chances that a single customer can purchase multiple products. Pretty much possible. That is also 1 to many relation. Here also I have 1 to many relation. Obviously, I will have only one Xbox in this table, one PlayStation in this table, one PS Vita and one in this table. But I can have multiple values in this table because there are chances that my customer will purchase multiple products, or I can have multiple customers who will purchase the same product. That is also possible. So it is again a one to many relation where I have one item which multiple customers may purchase. So it's a one to many relation again. Same way, this is also my one to many relation where I have Microsoft, which is a supplier. I have a phone number. Now here I can have multiple Microsoft entry because Microsoft may have multiple products. Same way like you see in Sony. So one supplier may have multiple items. Pretty much possible. So you can see that all the relations are one to many here. You will see there will be some many to many relation also, one to one relation also. We'll see that in the future classes. But as of now, here I have all the relations which are one to many. All right. So that is what my entity relationship is all about. Now, this is what about the normalization is. Now, what I will do is I'll quickly tell you about the platform which we will use for the training. Now, once you do a Google search for live Oracle, because in my machine the Oracle is not working properly. So what I did is I use this live Oracle. If you guys also don't want to install Oracle in your machine, you can definitely go with live Oracle, which is like search in Google live Oracle. You'll get this option. Click on this link. You have to create your account here. You have to sign in. You have to sign up. If you have the account, then you have to sign in. If you don't have the account, then you have to sign up. You can create an account and then you can log in. Once you log in, you will get this page. You see that I logged in and you can see these options out here. Okay. Now I'll go to SQL worksheet first of all. You can see that a page is coming in here where we will actually do the coding, where we'll do all the table creations, joins, everything we will do here. If you go to schema, you see this schema. Now, if you click on this schema, you will get these options, my schema. And from here, you will see academic, analytics view, customer orders. These are like predefined tables already present. in this particular instance of Oracle. Now, what is a schema? Schema is nothing but, suppose I have a database. Okay. In that database, I have a database. In that database, I will have multiple. As a layman term, schema is nothing but like a folder. Let's say I have a HR schema. I have a IT schema. I have a finance schema. So schema is like a folder where I will have all the HR related data, HR tables, HR views, and so on. Same way IT has its own tables, views, and so on. Same way for finance as well. So when we are creating a database, in that database we try to create a folder type of a structure, and that is nothing but a schema. Okay, in that schema I will have a relevant object of that particular type of schema, HR, then HR, and so on. Okay, so now if you see here they already created one schema, and in that schema they created multiple sub schemas. So basically if you see here in this schema, you see my schema, then academic schema, then analytics view schema, and then customer order schema, and so on. So these are the various schemas we have. So when I click on, like, say, EMP and DPT Scott, if I click on this, you'll see that I have the tables, department and employee table. Let's say if I'll select human resource, HR, when I click on this HR, you will see that these are the tables already present in the current instance. So you don't even have to create tables. All these tables are already present with us. We can play around with this data also. For example, let's say I have this department table. Let me click it. Let's see what we will see. So let me click here. It's taking a bit of time. So when you click in this department, you can see that these are the columns we have. You see, it's giving me all the details. Table name is department. Then we have a columns, department ID, department name, manager ID, location. These are the column names we have. Index is there. Now what is index? We'll discuss that later on. Then we have table attributes. Attributes is nothing but, again, just the details about the table, that it is a temporary nested, owner is HR, and so on, right? Comment of the table. Columns, these are the columns we have. It's a primary key of the department table. Indexes, these are the indexes we have. Triggers, constraints. Now constraints we'll talk about. So we have some constraints out here, right? So all the details I have available here. Now if I go to SQL worksheet, I want to access that department table. I want to check what all tables are there and what all records are there in that table. So to do that, we have to write the query, right? Now I have a table called department, and if I want to access that table, there are various ways to access that table. Select star from departments. Like if you check the table name, let's check what was it. It was departments, right? Departments. Now SQL is a case non-sensitive programming language. Okay. So if I write capital also, it is fine. Select. Or if I like small also, then is also fine. Select star from departments. And I have to execute. I'll just click on this run. You see that I'm getting this error. Ora, which is nothing but Oracle 00942, table or view does not exist, because this department table is present in which schema? It is present in the HR schema. So I have to write here HR dot. Okay, HR dot, something like, if you guys remember pandas, PD dot the function. Same way here also, HR dot the table name. Okay, obviously not relevant example to share, like obviously that was a package and I'm calling the function, but here it is a table and I'm like schema, I'm calling a table, something like that. Not a relevant, I will say the example, but yes, just as a layman if you want to understand. Now when I click on this run, you can see that I have something coming up. Department ID, department name, manager ID, and location ID. And those are the 4 columns, right? We saw in that table. Same way we have the another table, select star from HR dot employees. I guess there's one table. Let's see whether we get yes. So you see that we have an employee table as well, which consists of employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, and so on. These are the columns which are available in the table. Now, as I mentioned that I can select the table by multiple ways. Now, star means what? Star means all the columns. I want all the columns from the table. So all the columns are coming in here. But suppose I don't want all the columns. I just want few of the columns. Then what I will do, I will write, let's say I am looking for first name, last name, let's say email, and salary. So what I'm doing here, select first name, last name, email, and salary. Let me execute. You can see that we are getting only these columns which we actually wanted, right? So these are the two main ways we access the table. Now, what is a table? Table is like, I can say a simple layman term, it's an Excel file, but obviously not an Excel file, but consider that it is an Excel file which is stored in a database as a very, very layman term. So I created an Oracle database. Inside that database, I created a table called employees. In that employees table, I put all these values. Okay. Now, first of all, we'll try to understand how to create a table, because we know table is there, but how to create it, how we can create a record, create a table, how to insert the record. Obviously, we'll talk about that tomorrow in detail, but as of now, I'm just quickly help you understand that how we can create a table. Tomorrow we'll see how we can create the constraints as well, primary key, foreign key, and so on. As of now, I will not create any primary key, foreign key, but we'll discuss that tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have more detailed discussion. But as of now, let's say I want to create a table. Let's give the name as data science. So I want to create table. The table name I want it as data science. Then in the table, I have to put the columns as well, right? Because table should have the columns as well. Create table data science, and then I want to give the column names. Let's say I want to give ID, which is nothing but technology ID. What all technologies are important for me? So let's give tech ID. ID can be an integer. Now integer is a data type. In database also we have different types of data types, which we will discuss again in the tomorrow's session. So integer is one of the data types. Same way we have let's say technology name, tech name, and tech name is a string, right? So when you want to store a string, we have a concept of variable character, varchar, or I can pass char as well. Now, what is the difference between varchar, char? We will discuss that soon in this particular week sessions. But as of now, I'll go with varchar, and in varchar, I'll just pass some number. That number means my length of that word should be not more than 10. 10 is what the length is maximum. Okay. And after that, let's put scope, or let's say salary. How much salary will I get? Let's say salary I'm giving again as do we have a float here? Looks like yes, we have a float. We'll execute it. Now my table is like the syntax is ready. I have tech ID, tech name, and salary, and I gave the data type. So here I have to explicitly mention which data type it is, right? Not same as Python. In Python, we did not define the data type, but here we have to define. Let me select it. Let me try to run. Let's see if we are, yes, table is created. Now we created a table called data science. As of now, there are no entries. I did not insert any record in this table, right? So if I will write select star from data science and execute this, I'll get a table, but it will give me an output as no data found because there is no data available here. Okay, if no data is available, let's try to insert some records. So what I will do, I'll write insert into. I want to insert into data science. What do you want to insert? I want to insert values. What values? Tech ID, let's say 1, tech name, let's say Tableau, and a salary, let's say $10,000. So I'm inserting into data science table. The values which I want to insert are 1, Tableau, 10,000. I select this, execute this, one row inserted. Now if I go here and execute this command, you can see that I am getting the output. All right. So that is how you will able to insert. And again, we have to talk about a lot of things, insert, delete, and a lot of commands we'll discuss in this week. But just to help you understand, because we did not talk about the coding for last 2 sessions, so I thought that let's start something today. So here I inserted the record. Now let's say I'm inserting one more record. Insert into data science again. Values 1 comma Python, let's say $15,000. Now you see here 1, both are 1, which is logically not making any sense. Because how will I identify that? Because the purpose of this tech ID is to identify the row individually, right? It's a primary key. It should be a primary key. But I did not define any primary key in this table creation. I did not mention that, okay, this column is my primary key. No, I did not. So as I did not mention that tech ID is a primary key, I will very well able to insert this record as well. And now if we check this particular table again, you can see that we have 2 records, one with Python and one with Tableau, and both has a tech ID as 1. And that is the problem, because the purpose of tech ID is something like an employee ID. Every employee will have its own employee ID. There cannot be any employee with multiple employees with the same employee ID. Not possible. So here also, same tech ID I don't want. I want a different tech ID. So in that case, we have to apply the constraints, primary key constraint, and all those things we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. So this is how you can create a table, and from tomorrow we'll start creating the databases, and like we'll start creating the schema like tables and all those things, and try to create a multiple tables and multiple relations. We'll apply multiple constraints and a lot of things, right? We'll discuss that from tomorrow. Any doubts till this point?